Alright, welcome back to another layout update. And start off this section, which hasn't changed. But if we walk back this way, we'll see now that I've actually moved on beyond the doorway here. And I've added these tracks here since. Yeah, unfortunately there's a slight hump here which I can't fix. I've tried fixing it just on the previous layout that sat up here, but never really succeeded in getting it out. So I'm not going to worry about it. Besides, most of the time the couplers do hold, so it's not a big deal. Moving up, going around here, this is where I've gotten to at this point. I still have yet to get that back in here. Well, it was a little cleanup because we had an issue where we had a rodent infestation not too long ago, and they got up on here. They were actually climbing through that tunnel because I had not completely sealed it up, and they managed to climb up through the walls and get out onto this area, and I had to been slowly cleaning it as I go. But the double track will continue around. And then, move this out of the way. Gonna have a siding here for something. And let me get this out of the way as well. But the idea is this is gonna be a passing siding here, just a way to cross over. Well, not so much a passing siding, but just crossovers. One here and then one back here. So the trains can cross over from one track to the other. Or in the case of here, where there's going to be a couple industries, because there's a switch back, underneath the green box cars, it also is going to go siding on the other side of the wall. And that way I can switch trains and then be able to use the tracks in such a way. And I'm not sure what I'm going to put completely on the layout on this side. Thinking a city on top of everything here. And then over here, maybe some kind of like rocky tunnel mountain type thing. I have a plan for that, but I'm not going to go into detail on that right now. Like I said, you can see here that the R104 curve is ballasted underneath, and I still have to do the R120 on this side. And then eventually go around that way. This may or may not be into this update. But the other thing I want to talk about too is, some of the issues with the track. So coming over here, like the track is going to be a straight here, but it's not your standard straight. And I think I may have elaborated in the last updates, but the normal track is, normally Lego track is 16 studs long. The flexible tracks pieces are 4 studs long. And then you have what we call R40 curve, which is your normal standard track that Lego makes. But I have to have an 18 length here because of just the way everything worked out between the walls. In order for the trains to be able to actually do it, because Lego track, unlike your normal model train track, is very rigid. Very, very limited flexibility you can get away with. You can get away with some, but not a lot. So I have to work within the dimensions to make this work. So I'm going to show you guys what I do to get that 18 length. And those of you who are purists, you better cover your eyes and turn away. Alright, so to get that, I'm going to have to cut a piece of straight track. And I already have one piece already cut to 6 length, so I just need to make it 12. So to do that, take this and let's see here. Basically, I put whatever pieces I'm going to stop it at on there. This is going to cut. And I take a Sharpie and I mark approximately where I'm going to make the cuts. like so. It's easier when you're cutting on the rail instead of the ties, but in this instance I have to cut on the ties. And you just take the saw. Now this is a hobby saw that you can use to cut. The brand is called Zona. And you just keep cutting until you get through it. In fact, this is taking a bit. I'm just going to pause until I get it cut. Alright, so now it's cut. Throw that off the side. And you get a piece that's like that. Now, it's always good to clean it up. So that's what this is doing. You want to clean the inside of the flanges. You don't want anything, you know, catching the wheels. That sort of thing. You want to clean up the edge of the ties. And the same thing with this piece that I had cut previously. I never sanded it because I didn't have any use for it at the time. But now I'm going to need it, so I'm going to sand it. Now the nice thing with Lego, being that it's soft plastic, is it sands pretty easily compared to other and of course you want to test fit, make sure everybody's going to lock together, check it, make sure everything's level. Now there's a little bit of a gap there, but that's fine, it's not going to hurt. The wheels on Lego trains have pretty good flanges, and the wheels are big enough they'll just go right over that. You'll just get a slight clickety clack, which is no big deal there either. Gives you a nice extra sound. And I just attach the rest of that on there, and then I'm going to put the ties in. The other thing you want to make sure is that you got this gap here. You want to put a piece in to make sure it's going to slip in there, which it will. And then I'll put the rest of this in here. Okay, there's the piece of finished track with the ballast. I mean, it's not preferable to do this unless you absolutely have to. I try to avoid it actively. But, you know, have to do what I gotta do to run the trains, so that's how that works. And that's what it looks like underneath. I don't worry about the colors under here because they're going to get hidden anyway, so. But that's pretty much the simple thing. I mean, there's no secret to this. There's plenty of ideas on how to ballast track. This is common knowledge. So, we're going to place this down then. Alright, so now we have the sub ballast in, so all I have to do, and actually I forgot a couple things here. Alright, there we go. So that's all there is to it. Basically how this works is, let's say the curves were here. All you have to do is just slip that there, and then place that down, and there it is. Eventually I'll put the ties on. The only reason why I haven't is because I'm waiting currently on an order from WeBrick for more 1x4 black tiles. Yeah, the problem with Bricklink hasn't been solved, and at this point I'm just going to try to find alternative methods to get Lego because I'm tired of dealing with them for the moment. I got too much else going on in life to have to keep fighting over it. So, anyway, back to what we're talking about. Alright, so the next thing to talk about is turnouts. And this one back here, this is your normal one that you get, you know, in the Lego sets or the extras that you can buy from Lego Shop. And this is usually, you know, what comes in. This is an R. This is the same as like what I said with the R1 R40 curve. This is considered an R40 switch, which, you know, when you're running 6 wide, it's no problem. The 6 wide can handle it. But for the applications I'm doing with the 8 wide, you need something more like this. This is an R104 switch. Now, Lego doesn't make these. This is actually made by Brick Tracks. And they're actually not too expensive. You can get 2 of these in a pack for 40 bucks. Excuse me, like, usually they're about 44 bucks. Sometimes he has them on sale for 39, so I was keeping an eye out at. These are actually injection molded. They're not 3D printed, which is actually a bonus. And unlike the Lego Switch, which is a 1-piecer, this is actually a 2-piece. Like, they break apart like this so they can be stored. This comes off as well. And then you can just snap it like that. Now, these are a little more challenging to ballast than these are. These actually have a better established ballast system. And there's no instructions currently that I'm aware of for ballasting these. Now, OK Brickworks does make a 3D printed ballast piece. And someday down the road I may buy one and replace all the ballasted pieces that I do have. Because I have a couple, which I'm going to show you here in a second. But, you know, currently for my application, I'd rather just ballast it myself because, you know, I'm not a patient person. So if I want something done, I do it. And then to find a way to get the other part replacement later. Alright, so here's a piece of R104. Let me get that out of the way. Here's a piece of R104 switch that's ballasted. And as you can see, there's a lot of little gaps in here. Little holes and stuff. But the thing is, once you put it down, there's going to be stuff underneath this that's going to hide that. I mean, that's what it looks like on that side. And just the way these switches are made, you have to work around certain things. Like here's like gaps, which will be filled in with bricks and stuff. But it took me a little bit to figure out a system to make this work. And a lot of it actually involved, I don't know how well you can see that, but I actually had to file down Lego pieces to make this work. It's not easy to do, but it's really the best way to come up with something that works. And, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But to me, this is the decent, easiest method to do. It's not foolproof, but it works. Okay, so I got a ballasted section here done of the crossover. And at some point I might do a video on how I make the ballasting on this. Though I will give you guys a heads up on that. It does involve a lot of sanding and cutting of pieces to make it fit properly. So again, if you can overlook such things, then you're fine. And let's move in close, you get a look at it. There's still a lot of gaps and holes in, but overall it works well enough and is acceptable enough to me to work. So I think for now this is going to be it for this layout update. I mean, I was hoping to run trains on this update, but as you can see, I still got a ways to go on the Trackwork before I can just run. So, you know, another time I'll do it. But please subscribe. You know, not everybody does, but, you know, hey, you know, subscribing means I can reach out more people, and you guys will at least be notified. You know, hit the bell and that to get when I put videos out if you like what I'm doing. leave comments. You know, let me know what you guys feel about how I'm doing. You know, a little feedback always is nice to hear from you guys. So do all that, and I will catch you guys in the next video.